all of you are doing well. Hello to everyone that's joining us live right now virtually in the Heart and Hustle studio. As you know, we are live on Facebook, Twitter, on YouTube. And I really just wanted to take this moment to say thank you if you're tuning in right now and joining us from your home, your office, wherever you're at. I hope all of y'all are staying healthy and safe. And I'm super excited for this month's monthly chat. Before we begin, though, I like to open our virtual live chat with a land acknowledgement. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Maidu, Valley and Plains Miwok, Patwin and Wintooth peoples, and the people of Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe, may we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral land by choosing to gather today in the active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Sacramento's Indigenous peoples, histories, contributions, and lives. All right. So thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us today live. I'm super excited about today's live monthly chat because we have amazing speakers and community leaders on call right now in front of you virtually. As you all know, if you didn't know, this month is Hispanic Latino Heritage Month. And so if you celebrate that, really want to take this opportunity to say happy Hispanic Latino Heritage Month. This month is incredibly powerful, and it's also a really powerful reminder of really the work that we still have as a city, as a community, as a state, as a country to really recognize the diverse stories, histories, and contributions of Hispanic and Latinos in our history and right now in this very moment. I think for me in particular, I want to share with all of you that if you know the data in District 8, especially in our city, the Hispanic and Latino community actually makes up about 28% of the city of Sacramento. And that's probably an undercount, just FYI. But here in our district in particular, the largest racial ethnic group in our community is actually the Latino community, making up 30% of District 8 itself. And so something I also wanted to share that, Hispanic Latino Heritage Month is celebrated from September 15th to October. It spans in the middle of September to October. It was originally observed for 1 week and then later expanded into a month. And so starting September 15th, which was like last week, we really began to celebrate, center, and uplift just the amazing contribution of our Hispanic and Latino leaders and community. And this day is really significant, September 15th, because it's really the beginning of Independence Day for Costa Rica, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and so many other countries. And so really wanted an opportunity just to share with you all of that. But let's get right in. As you know, every month I dedicate a virtual live chat to a topic, to a theme. And this month, really wanted to center and recognize our incredible, beautiful, amazing Hispanic and Latino community. All of our panelists that you see here today virtually are incredibly busy, probably even more busy than your councilwoman. And so I'm just really grateful for their heart, their hustle, their love and commitment to the community, and also making time to be here today to join our Team Heart and Hustle, to share a little bit about themselves and the work that they're doing, their staff is doing, their organization is doing to really ensure that we leave no communities behind and ensure that, the Hispanic and Latino community can truly thrive. And so with that, I'm just going to jump right in and just do a roll call. What I would love for each of you to do is to introduce yourself. So, please share a little bit about yourself, your name, your title, your organization. Do not be shy, right? Definitely want to hold space for each and every one of you. And then just a little bit about the organization that you serve as well. So with that, why don't we start with a resident in District 8, Richard Falcone, actually, because he's a community leader in District 8. So I'll have him start first. Richard, if you can introduce yourself, share your title, your pronouns, a little bit about the organization, and then, we'll popcorn it to someone else.
Thank you. It's really great to be here with everybody here. I'm among just wonderful company here and leaders that I admire a whole heck of a lot. Richard Falcon, resident of District 8, sitting here out in the Valley High area with you at my home. Been here in Sacramento since 1994. Proud to be here. I am also the lead organizer for an organization called United Latinos. United Latinos is a civic engagement, education, environmental justice organization. It's been around since 2009. Our focus being on making sure that Latinos have everything that they need and removing any gaps to participate within the electoral process. As a environmental justice person for United Latinos, making sure that we are paying attention to the communities and finding out where are the challenges that we are facing environmentally, because environmental justice also ties into social justice, as everyone knows. As artistic director for Teatro Nahual, we are a Latino-based theater company here, bringing social justice issues to the forefront and using theater and arts as a way to bring our message forward. It's been really exciting. We have a great group of people working for us, and we find that the arts is a great way and remains a great way to bring forward issues for the community. I am also on the Police Review Commission for the district, reviewing police policy, part of the Latino Health Council, along with La Familia and others. And again, so many things that I step into because I don't know, I like to get involved, and I hope our community will continue to get involved as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Richard, for that introduction. As you hear, he wears multiple hats in the community, lots of organizations, but at the heart of it, it's really about ensuring that we do everything we can to uplift our community. So, Richard, thank you so much just for being my eyes and ears on the ground at the Deerfield Mesa Grande community. Thank you so much for your heart and your hustle. So let's go to Kathy.
Okay, yes. Hi, everyone. I don't know how well I can follow Richard, who is doing everything. Speaking of someone who's busy doing good work. So thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for having me in this group. Again, like Richard, I admire everyone here for all the work that they do. I am Kathy Rodriguez-Aguirre. I'm the president and CEO for the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This month, we celebrated 50 years in existence. And it's 50 years of serving our small businesses, making sure we're advocating for them, making sure they're having resources and getting connected to what they need to grow and thrive. We talk a lot about economics as we are moving forward, because economics is actually something that binds us all. And we see that when you look at the economics, it affects everything. Everyone that's doing a little bit better, you have better health, you're in a better environment, you're in better neighborhoods. So I like to talk about it as the fact that it's kind of that part that unites us all and gives us an opportunity to really focus on where investment is made. Because when intentional investment is made in our community, we see the growth. We also see, as we've heard in the numbers, the Latino community is the fastest growing. It's still the biggest growing. And when we did a Hispanic economic report that we released in 2020, Councilmember Maya, you said that 30% in your district. If you look across the region, in every county, we're either 1 in 3 or 1 in 4. And that's, how powerful we are in this group. So the reality is, I am here to say that when we advocate and we work well in our community and make sure this intentional investment, everyone prospers. So that's really what we're doing here at the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber, is really making sure everyone has access to opportunity so everyone can prosper. Because when we do well, everyone does well.
Thank you so much, Kathy. And also just want to give a shout out to the Hispanic Chamber for their 50-year anniversary. Thank you so much. I know nothing gets done really without leadership and bold and courageous leaders like you, Kathy. And so really want to center you and say thank you to you just for all the work that you've been doing, especially even during the pandemic, helping our small mom and pop shop, our small Latino businesses, and making sure that they get the support and resources they need. So just thank you so much for everything that you do in the community. All right, Eureka.
Hi, thank you so much for having us, council member. And it's great to be with these panelists who are my colleagues, but also my friends. So it's great to be here. Thank you so much. I'm Yuriko Garces. I'm the consul for political, economic, and cultural affairs at the Mexican consulate. We are one of the 10 Mexican consulates in California. We have Mexico has 50 consulates in all the US. So that represents the amount of Mexicans that live in the US, but also the importance that the Mexican government gives to the Mexican diaspora here in the United States and all over the world. The consulate in Sacramento covers 24 counties from the northern border of Oregon to the south to Mono County. And we serve around 300 people daily. in the documentation department, protection department, but also we have a lot of community programs in order to empower the Mexican community, the Latino community. And as you know, we have a lot of work with all the organizations represented here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eureka. And just thank you so much for the consulate as well, being really immersed in the community and making sure that they have resources to go to when needed, and really talking about the diaspora, right? And so just want to say thank you so much for always being available to our community, especially to our office when we have events. When we don't know the answer, we always call you up, hit you up when we need all of the questions asked. And so really want to thank you just for your service and the consulate as well, just for everything that y'all are doing for the community. All right, Roxana.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for the invitation, Council Member. I mean, this is an honor to be here today, sharing this time with all of you. And yes, my name is Roxana Calderon. I'm the Community Empowerment for Univision 19. But I belong to a one-person department that it's contigo, or with you. That's my branding. And basically what I do is serve the community. I'm in charge of supporting nonprofit organizations, all the campaigns, education, health, civic engagement, anything that is related to provide resources to our community, that's me. And basically, like I always tell everybody, is my passion is to serve our community. That's my background. I come from working for my huge nonprofit organization that it's called Opening Doors. I call it, even though it's small, but it's a huge because they do so much for a community. So that I worked before coming to Univision. I was there for 10 years, working on so many projects, and I'm always proud of do that. So that's my passion, the community. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rosanna, just for all the work that you do. We know that media is an important tool to actually reach our community. And it's so grateful that, you occupy that space, that Univision is always informing our community, our diverse community, about what's happening in the city, in our region. So just thank you so much for all the work that you do. And I think we have one more person to introduce themselves, which is one of my good friends as well. So really great to see you on here, Carissa. I'll let you take it from here, introduce yourself, and share about the great work that you're doing.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me, Maya. I have to echo so many of the folks here. I'm Carissa Gutierrez, preferred pronouns she, her, ella, and I am humbly the director of the Latino Center of Art and Culture. It's really wonderful to see these faces because these are the folks I've been looking at as leaders in our community for a very long time. As stepping in as director now, what's really important for us has been for the past 50 years, empowering the artistic, economic, and cultural development of Sacramento's Latino community through the arts. And I use the term Latino very loosely, with a very loose grasp, because as many of us in this space already know, Latinidad is not a monolith. It is very complex. It is layered. There are so many different lived experiences. And so what excites me is actually that complexity. And where cultural expression and arts come into play is that we don't seek to have the answers, but rather to actually ask the right questions when it comes to these spaces. So for me, it's incredibly wonderful to be able to provide, on behalf of the community here in Sacramento, programming that is culturally relevant, that actually celebrates the best in us, and also asks us to make these connections with other communities as well. So through the arts, I have to echo Richard on that. It's that we really can do great work, especially through the arts and cultural spaces. But yes, I'm happy to be here and very humble to do so.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carissa. And just thank you so much for the work that you do. Something that former council member Carr always have shared is that art transcends everything, right? And so just thank you so much. And I know that you are all expanding as well. As you saw earlier, my staff also put down website, contact information if you want to learn more about each of these organizations. So we'll jump right into our first question. Thank you so much for doing that intro, because I really want folks to know who you all are and your organization, but we'll jump right in. So the first question is, as we celebrate Hispanic Latino Heritage Month, it's really important to recognize community members that have had a profound impact on the city and the state and just in the country and worldwide. I actually want to ask each and every one of you, who is someone that you admire, look up to, or align with that has been a change maker, and why? So with that, we'll go backwards. So let's start with Carissa.
Sure. I think I'm a native Sacramentan. So my knee-jerk reaction would have been Joe Cerna for a lot of his work that he did, especially for my family who's been here for several decades. But when you expand into international spaces, there's someone I really want to lift up that's now getting more attention. Her name's Jovita Idar, and she's a Mexican-American journalist, educator, activist based out of Texas in the late 1800s. And she was, before we knew, really promoting what we would call Chicanismo. So this in-betweenness between the United States and Mexico. And she did so by championing labor rights, by championing educational rights, and started her own journalistic journey. And so she is incredible. And I know that the United States Mint is now creating an entire collection that commemorates women. And one of them will be Jovita Idar. So I'm excited for young women, especially young Latinas everywhere, to learn who she was and to be able to carry that spirit into the work they do.
Awesome, Carissa. I feel like I'm learning every time I do these live chat. I'm also learning as well. So taking notes. Thank you so much for sharing. How about Roxana? Oh, thank you. Okay, so what my staff is doing is also they're putting up the person. Thank you. Oh, that's so great. We'll make sure to also add that in the chat below as well. So if you're wondering who these amazing individuals are that we're talking about today, we'll make sure to provide that information. So with that, let's go with Roxana.
Okay, on my behalf, I'm going to be honest. I don't have one person. I basically like to take the most and best and positive thing from everyone. And the one that I admire and I try to follow all the time is Jesus Christ.
Thank you so much, Rosanna. All right, Eureka.
Well, I'm a foreign member service. I've been in the diplomatic service for 15 years, so it's a little bit of everything. I've seen a lot of Latinos, a lot of Mexicans that have changed the world, that have changed also the way we see the Latino community and the Hispanic community in the U.S. But as Carissa say, I'm going to go definitely locally because I've been here 7 years in Sacramento, and for me, it has been amazing how the leaders that are just here speaking with me have empowered the community. Their perseverance and their work they do every day to highlight what the Latino community does, the way they care for it, the way it's not only work, but it's like a family. So it's very important, all the Latino leaders here in the city of Sacramento, and I want to recognize them for the work they do, the work that Richard does through theater and highlighting the work that Carissa and the Latino Cultural Center, the Hispanic Chamber with the business, and obviously Roxana, that all the time she's helping the community one way or another, plus so many others, that there are here in our community. Casa Español, Sol Collective, I could name so many, it's a big list. So I just want to recognize them and tell them that since I got here, I'm always in awe of their work that they do for our community and that I thank them very much.
Oh, thanks, Eureka. You being one of them as well. We're asking the question of, who is a person that you admire or align with in terms of the change maker? And Eureka said everyone on this call. She listed all of you. So
Very sweet.
I love it. I love it. So Kathy, you're next.
Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna be a little different. So I'm gonna give you a pair and then one. So honestly, for me, the change maker and the people that have had the most impact of why I'm here and what I do is actually my parents, my mom and dad. So my dad immigrated here from Jalisco when he was 20. My mom was actually born here in Texas in the States. So I always tell people I'm a generation and a half, and that's probably why when you meet with me or talk to me, my lived experience, people say, is a little different, right? Which I think is important to share, that everyone's story matters and how that works. The reason it's my parents is my dad, through watching him, I've learned that you need to make the use of every opportunity that comes your way. And so when you talk about someone that started in the fields, and when he retired 7 years ago, he retired as a cellar master at Behringer's. So for some people that don't know what that means, It's a pretty big deal. So he was at the end, the very last person that's putting the wine together. And if you go and get 2016 Private Reserve Cab from Behringer's right now, that's the last one my dad touched. And Ashley is a 99-point wine that's out there. And that's my dad, although I give him 100 points. And my mom was principal secretary for 35 years at our local high school. She was the only person that spoke Spanish there for a very long time. And so there are a lot of students out there. When I see them, let me know that my mom is the reason they did whatever it is they accomplished, whether it was going on to college, starting a business, going to trade school. It was my mom that was like, no, you can do this. You know, we're going to help you fill this out and move forward. So I saw early on that leadership, it's not about titles. It's about how you influence people to do what they need to do to reach their full potential. So that's where I got that from. And I take that really seriously. So everything you see me do, you're seeing my parents very much next to me. So a lot of people have heard me say, if it's something that I won't share with my parents, then I just won't do it. And it doesn't matter what it costs. That's the way I do things. And then the second one, because I told you there was one, I'm being really honest, and you guys are gonna laugh, but J-Lo is my shero. I adore her. I think that if you look at her, you listen, and everyone should watch that Netflix, you see that no one works harder than her to constantly get better at what she does. And when you see it, she talks about the apoyo for the Latino community and how every time she's doing something, she knows that she is breaking ceilings and she's representing all of us. And I think that when you get to these points, you realize that everything we're doing is bringing the community with us. And so what we do needs to reflect that back. And so my favorite thing, and my staff was laughing at me because I use it as a hashtag all the time. It's hashtag Let's Get Loud, because that's what I feel about our Latino community. I'm all, this is our time. There's no sleeping giant here. This is time that we need to be loud about what we're able to accomplish and what we're doing.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Kathy, for just sharing just the story of your parents as well and how they are really your role models and your admiration in your life. And then J-Lo, I'm a big fan of J-Lo. I am. I'm like, she looks amazing. She's fit. She's like super hard. She embodies heart and hustle. I was like, yeah, she's amazing. I'm a big fan of J-Lo too. So that's another person I admire. Cool, Kathy. All right, Richard.
All right. Well, those people that know me the longest know, of course, I work very hard at bringing forward the teachings of Cesar Chavez and just, how he empowered the farm worker movement along with Dolores Huerta. And that history of empowerment of people is something that has driven me to continue what I do today and learning that this is not a sprint, this is a marathon and you have to keep at it. I mean, for those of you, I'm sure that know, the farm workers are still out at the Capitol trying to get Assembly Bill 2183 signed. I mean, where else can you go but to embody the fact that we are a resilient people, and that is demonstrated by those two leaders in particular. But the one local one that I want to bring forward who has been a great just person for me to learn from is a professor at Sac State by the name of Manuel Barajas. Manuel Barajas is part of an organization at Sac State called the Center for Race, Immigration, and Social Justice. And Manuel continues that group going. It has become a great staff, faculty, student group that is continuing to grow with so many underserved, marginalized communities coming to the table, especially students, and providing that voice to Sac State students and that bridge into the community here. Because it is amazing to me when I talk to some of these students at Sac State who say, we don't feel we have a home here in Sacramento, Richard. We don't feel connected to Sacramento. But it is amazing when you get someone like Professor Barajas and all the staff there at the Center for Race, Immigration, and Social Justice who are building that bridge between the areas of higher learning and the communities here in Sacramento and bringing voice for those young people to come here and say, wait, I do belong. So that's, I want to uplift Manuel Barajas, Center for Race, Immigration, and Social Justice. Find them there at Sac State. Great organization to be a part of.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Richard, for sharing that and lifting up Dr. Manuel Barajas. We did put the contact information when you want to learn a little bit about the professor and the department. That would be great. So thank you so much, everyone, for really just sharing with all of us, someone that you admire in the community or align with and see as, a change maker. Many of you touched upon this already about representation and really some of the social, economic, political issues that impacts the Hispanic and Latino community. Would love to dig in a little bit deeper and ask each and every one of you really what are just some ways that you or your organization work and engage with the Hispanic and Latino community. And you can feel free to touch on any issues, whether the social, economic, political issue that you see really at the forefront in this moment, and something that your organization is working on to really, really address it and work with the Hispanic Latino community with. So with that, why don't I start with Kathy?
Okay. Yes. Well, thank you. I think that this is something that everyone will share. It is such a privilege to get to be in a place where you can be of service to your community. And so that's something every day I think about, like, how are we serving our community? How are we serving our small businesses? What are we doing to make sure they have what they need to do what they need to do? And so at the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber, we have different programs that we have in place, to work with our small businesses where they can learn the tools, resources, connections to really build what they need. But the most important thing, more than that for me, is getting to tell their stories. And so when I look out at, Algo Bueno that's in Northgate, right? So if you go and meet them, you're going to hear about how they had a catering service for 7 years. They've been working really hard to finally get this brick and mortar. They chose it specifically in the neighborhood they grew up in. And what I love about this particular couple is how they're like, Kathy, if you want, we'll open up on Monday so other businesses can come in here and we can tell them what we did and what we learned and how they really want to help each other. And I think that that's something you're really seeing a lot more. It's community, the spirit of collaboration and coordination and working with another. It's no secret when we look at each other here that we can talk about what we do. It's because we're constantly reaching out to one another to make sure, like, all of this, I call it kind of like the puzzle pieces, they all have to fit together, right? Mm-hmm. So I started with, at the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber, we have to talk about the economics. I mean, we need people to be able to support their families, to build that generational wealth. Those businesses that are out there in the neighborhoods that have been anchors for so long. And I know, Councilwoman, you've heard me say it at City Council. So, right, these are the anchors. And if we had invested in them during that first recession, like, where would we be now? Because they didn't close. The businesses that we've had gone through Emprende, we're starting our 7th cohort that we do in partnership with Franklin Boulevard. There's more than 100 businesses. You know what? They never closed either. In fact, they're growing and looking for more employees, second locations, moving from food truck to adding a mortar. So that means that when we intentionally invest, people are able to create those jobs, to create that wealth, to really take care of their community and give back. And so those are things we talk about. What is that intentional investment and what is, it look like? So I think every single day, I know that my team, that's what we're looking at. Where's the path for that? Are we making sure they're connected? What's happening at the city? What's happening in the county? What's happening at the state? Because our job is to open up those opportunities and make sure there's access to them. So, I mean, all of us could probably talk a lot about everything, but I'm so passionate about reminding people, this is what I'll leave you with on mine, is that these businesses, everyone, have been contributing to this economy for a very long time. And that last recession, when things closed downtown, which I love, big fan of downtown, but it was the neighborhoods that were the tax dollars coming into the city that kept us up. And no one ever brings that up. So what I'm saying now, make sure you invest, because they've been waiting longer than anyone else. So I'm so proud of the work that we're doing, Councilmember Harris, the money that's going out to Northgate, the money that's happened out to Franklin. But I want to point out that it is long overdue, because when these neighborhoods were upholding everyone else, they were the last to get any investment.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy. And just thank you so much for pointing that. I think economics, it's actually a key factor for everything that follows after in terms of schools, our neighborhoods, resources. And so thank you so much for just holding that a central issue that you focus on every single day and uplifting all of our families. And so thank you so much for that. Roxana, what about you? What are one or two main issues that is impacting the Hispanic Latino community, and what are ways that you or your organization is helping to engage the Latino community?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit more this time because like I said, I'm passionate of what I do. And through my community empowerment department and under our branding Contigo, which is with you in English, we share resources that benefit our community. We do campaign awareness through education, health, prosperity, which is more related to financial literacy and business development, and of course, civic engagement. For example, under our health campaign, we do an annual blood drive and health fair in partnership with Vitalan and the American Red Cross, and you guys can see the pictures there, since 2001, and this is to increase blood donations in our market. On June Univision Contigo, we did our annual blood drive health fair in Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto. And I'm happy to say that we were able to help to fill a critical gap in the blood supply. And we were able to collect over 400 red cell units and some plasma units to save lives. So that's something that that we do every year. Under our education in partnership with Sacramento State University and with Sacramento State and California State University, we're going to be providing our 10th annual Feria de Educación, education fair, on Saturday, October 1st at Sac State. And, the Feria empowers Spanish-speaking parents and students with information and resources to help them succeed in California educational system. As we all know, when we come from other countries, the education is completely different. And, the language barrier, it's a big issue that we have. So we try to bring, workshops, including financial aid and other educational opportunities for undocumented students. Besides the workshops, we will be having an educational pathway where students and parents can obtain information on colleges and universities in California, and of course, community resources. For the first time, we're going to be providing a career and financial wellness area to obtain guidance to career decisions, financial wellness resources. And of course, we're going to have our Dreamer Clinic and Transfer Corner, and we will be providing scholarships as well. And another new thing that we're doing is for those parents that have not been able to obtain their GED, we're working with Sac State. They have an adult program in where parents can learn that, how to obtain that GED and how can they have access to, other type of education. So that's basically, what we're working to support our community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Roxana. And we'll make sure also to push out that information. I think all the slides that you shared was really awesome. Want to make sure that we get that out on our own social media platforms as well. So Jaime, if you're watching this right now, let's make note of that. Let's make sure we get that information out. Lots happening right now. So that's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that information. Carissa.
Yeah, of course. So I think, when Kathy started speaking, I was like, yes, a million times yes. I actually grew up on Northgate Boulevard. I went to school in South Sac. I was bused into Midtown. And so when we hear the numbers of 1 in 3 identify as Latinos in Sacramento, and we're also considered the most diverse city in the United States, I'm like, where is this diversity? We tend to be concentrated in pockets or specific areas. And so the work of the Latino Center is really to make visible what is sometimes seen as invisible, which are the people in this community and also the cultural practices that we maintain. The idea that people feel a sense of belonging and safety when they're in community with one another is incredibly important to us and has been for the past 50 years. So when we think about the celebrations, the festivals, we have Panteón de Sacramento, which is a 3-day festival coming up at the end of October. We have La Pastorela de Sacramento, Fiesta de Frida. We just started with Oaxaca in Sacramento, which honors the pre-Hispanic traditions of the Guelaguetza from Oaxaca, Mexico. What we are doing is really taking space, and we're actually showing a collaboration or a celebration of a multitude of stories here, of folks who are here. Who are those artists that are in our community? How are they showing up every day? And something that I like to remind myself and others of is that an artist is also a parent, a taxpayer. They have children who go to our schools. They go to our businesses. They are the ones that also create performances that attract people to our city as well. So the creative economy is always changing and evolving, and we're all interconnected. But the way that we work with the community is such a broad umbrella term. We make sure that our programming remains accessible and is provided or produced with the input of the community itself. So typically it is immigrant households, it is low income households. We make sure everything remains accessible. It is also based on our roots within the Chicano movement, we were founded as La Raza Galeria Posada by the members of the Royal Chicano Air Force in 1972, that we are actively always speaking with the community about what are the issues facing us here and how do we radically and joyfully celebrate that which makes us ourselves. And so what we see in the spaces that we convene, for example, the Panteon, where thousands of people walk through over the course of 3 days, is folks who are now in community with one another, see each other safely and included and celebrated, and as kind of Roxana mentioned, able to connect them to the resources they need. So I love that Kathy mentioned the piece about puzzle pieces. We bring people together. We allow for each other to feel safe and included and feel a sense of belonging and celebration. And then we connect them to the resources that are already there. So often am I passing up people to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce who have small businesses or vendors who want to develop their business ideas. So often am I handing them off to the Consul General de Mexico as well, so that they can get that support as well. But it really is saying we are here and you are safe. And not only are you safe, you are celebrated. And that to me is incredibly important in cultural work. The more we do it, the more we realize that our roots are in fact intertwined. And so that's one of the pieces we do is through celebration, through artistic celebration. I went to the 50th gala or celebration of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and I couldn't help but feel so thrilled to see the way artistry shows up in every element of what it means to be Latino, whether it's the performances, the food, the culinary arts, the floral arrangements, the fashion. The fact is, if you removed anything that we consider to be art from any space where we convene, what makes it Latino then? What makes it Hispanic? And so it really is even reminding our own families. I'm sorry, I have this story of, a friend, and I asked him, he's not Latino, but I'm like, what does your mother do for fun? And he's like, oh, she tries new recipes. And I remember laughing at that. I'm like, I didn't realize cooking was a hobby. I just was I honestly did not, because in our families produce very intricate food and food items every day, and we don't see it as art sometimes. And so it's even understanding that the lullaby we were sung to as a child, the food that we are served, the way we dress, the way we present, is in and of ourselves telling the world, I am here. And not only am I here, I'm here with my ancestors and with my community. And so that is what, as a cultural center, we attempt to do every time, is reminding folks we are here, we are present, and then working in collaboration with other organizations to do the same.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carissa. That's so powerful. And just thinking about how art is really a form to build community, to connect, and to make visible folks that are not invisible, but have been seen invisible, right? And so just thank you so much. I mean, I'm sitting here just listening, and I feel like I'm sitting in a ethnic studies 101 Latino course right now. But really just thank you so much for sharing the insight and the work that the center is doing to really uplift the arts in the Latino community. So Eureka, what about you? If you can share a little bit about the consulate, I know you shared a little bit about the work that y'all do, but if you could share a little bit about just, what are some of the ways in which you all engage with the Hispanic Latino community, but I think it's really through partnerships, because we actually go to you when we need help. But would love to hear about just your resources as well.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Council Member. Well, as you know, the consulate is definitely a serving institution. Our main objective for being here is to serve the community. So as I mentioned, we provide them with Mexican documentation, which is definitely very important to have their passports, their Mexican IDs, because at the same time, this Mexican documentation can help them have the California driver's license, now a California ID. So it's very important for us, for the people, to have all their documents in order. But also we help them with legal advice. We have several lawyers that work with us, sometimes pro bono. So that helps a lot as well, the community, to advise them in terms of their labor rights, civil issues. Domestic violence is also a very big topic that we try to inform the community about. And obviously we have our community affairs programs, which is with health, with education, with financial advisement. And for example, during the pandemic, we partnered with Elica Health Clinic, and they had a clinic all for almost like 2 years outside the consulate, providing vaccines, providing COVID tests with a doctor. So it's, as Carissa mentioned, the consulate is a place where people feel safe. So it's also, we do partner obviously with all of you, but we also try to we have our all own events and our own actions to help and empower the community. And one of our main events that we like a lot and we put a lot of effort to it, it's Steps to College, our university fair that takes the first Saturday of February. And similar to the Sac State Fair that Univision puts out, uh, we have around 60 universities from California, but also from Mexico, participating and giving out information. We have bilingual workshops. We have one-on-one counseling, education counseling. We have also with CSAC, we partner up and students can fill up their FAFSA application. So education for us, it's a very important program, Steps to College and so many others that we have for the community.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rico. And I know that you are, the consulate is a really important asset for our community. I wouldn't say just for the Latino community, but for all communities, really to learn more. I want to take this opportunity just to thank you for your service. I think I've met you when I was just a staffer in Councilmember Carr's office. And the fact you're still there and serving this community, we're just so grateful every day to be able to have that partnership with you. So thank you.
Thank you. And I also just want to add in terms of the arts, because we have two great art promoters here. We have a gallery here at the consulate, and we have exhibitions. We also have our own altar, but we participate with Panteón de Sacramento. It's our big event for Dia de los Muertos. We have movie nights. So we try to serve the community in several ways, of course.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Richard, I think you're the last one for this question. So,
Well,
and
no, thank you.
you're in numerous organizations, so feel free to share any or all of what some of the work that y'all are doing.
I'm going to start first with the work as a District 8 resident. And I know you're familiar with the work that my wife, my lovely wife, Barbara, does, and all the people out here at Deerfield Mesa Grande to keep you informed of the things that are happening within that community. The beautiful part about that organization and that group of residents is that they are stepping out of Deerfield Mesa Grande more into the other neighborhoods in District 8 to find out what are the challenges that we are facing as community, not just for Hispanic, Latino communities, but for all the communities that are here, because it is such a diverse group in there. When it comes to anything related to some of the safe grounds for the homeless, to the 102 acres there on Meadowview, to the various local things that impact our communities, the future of growing arts within District 8 and District 7, which has been identified as an arts desert. How do we correct those things and move forward on that? From a United Latino standpoint, we are doing advocacy within our community, specifically around things like the most recent one, and I know you were part of the letter that just went out, for trying to find an equitable way to help our small business landscapers turn in their 2-cycle gas-powered engines, that there is a resolution that will soon turn into an ordinance to pull all those back. But how do we keep them employed? How do we bring forward workforce development? How do we make sure that the communities that have suffered and been most impacted by COVID, like Kathy said, they were still out there working. They were still out there cutting the lawns, cooking the food, picking in the fields and things like that. Yet they are the ones that are the slowest to recover because of the inaccessibility of programs for them, for many reasons, whatever that might be. And so we need to find ways to bring awareness of that and come together and provide solutions for that. And the last thing that I'm going to add on here that I tell people, part of what helps us to be successful is all of the people that are on this panel, because of our partnerships with them, our partnerships with many of the other organizations who are not this panel right now, but are still strong change leaders. And the other thing for us to remember, as Carissa talked about, as already talked about, we will no longer be invisible. We will now step forward and we will have our voices heard, but it will not and no longer be a competition. We cannot compete against each other for the small dollars that come our way to keep us going. We must now learn to collaborate, to welcome. Someone brought to mind one time, because I keep talking about the crab pot mentality, where there's a crab who's trying to get out of the pot and the other crabs pull it back. And I was bringing that sit to forward to somebody, and they said, but Richard, remember who put us in the pot. So it goes deeper in that. And that's why being here with all of you, you are the change makers. You're the ones that teach me. My wife teaches me. So many of you teach me in here so that I can come forward and say, yes, how can I help? That's what we at United Latinos do. That's what we at Teatro Nagual can do. How can we help? And for you, council members, so because we come to you and we say, how can we help?
Thank you so much, Richard. And just thank you so much for all the work that you do in District 8. Just so grateful to have you as a friend, as a colleague, and as an advocate fighting alongside you to make sure that we get resources to all of our residents and our local businesses in District 8. So I just want to say thank you so much, Richard, for everything that you do. All right, we have about 10 minutes left, and I still have like 2 more questions. But this has been a really, really great, amazing conversation. The next question that I'm going to ask all of you, Hispanic Latino Heritage Month is really about celebrating the history, the diverse culture of the Hispanic Latino community. One question that I do want to ask each and every one of you is, what is a tradition and food that you wish more people knew about? So I'll just pause real quick so that you all can think about that. What is one thing, one tradition or food that you wish more people knew about? And then I'll also add, as we talk, as we discuss Hispanic Latino Heritage Month, I know that we can't talk about that without just really talking about just the decades of struggle, triumphs, and contribution, legacy, and joy in the community. So I'm going to leave this question to be a little broad than just traditions and food, but anything that you wanted to discuss about that you wish people knew more about. It doesn't have to be just tradition or food. It could be that, but it could be more than just that, because I think oftentimes, even being Asian American Pacific Islander, oftentimes people just want to know about tradition and food, which is super rich, but I also want to make sure we hold space to really talk about, some of the struggles and triumphs and contribution and just the joy, right, in the Latino Hispanic community. So I'll pause for quick, let you all reflect on that for a few seconds, and I will call on someone. Let's start with Roxana.
Well, thank you. And this is something that I want to keep in mind, that we don't just serve Sacramento County. We also work with Stanislaus, San Joaquin, Yolo County. So for me, it's really important to make sure that I'm supporting all the Latin American culture. And I'm proud to say that I was able to partnership and support and sponsor the independence celebration of Peru, in which, it was open to everybody in the community, to showcase their culture, their food. I also participated in sponsoring the independence celebration for Colombia. And for the first time, I was able to do a partnership with Casa de Español and to celebrate Central America. So we brought, like I mentioned, different type of foods from different countries from Central America. It was such a great event. And of course, something that we have been supporting in the past is, El Grito, celebrating El Grito at the Capitol. One thing that I want to bring today is that I'm presently working with Casa de Español and a small group of Venezuela community that is here in Sacramento to support the new Venezuelan immigrants that are arriving in Sacramento. So we're going to be sending out really soon an invitation. We're going to put together a potluck so we can all get together and we can all see how can we support, how can we make sure that they have the resources, the information, and everything that they need. And that's basically what I wanted to say.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rosanna. And, often I'm reminded with with what Carissa mentioned earlier when we opened up this virtual live chat, that when we think about this Magnet Latino community, it's multi-layered, right? So there's not just one tradition or one food that can really point to the entire community. And so really just wanted to also just name that as well, the complexity and the beauty and how diverse our Latino community is. So with that, let's go to Kathy. Let's go to Kathy. Yeah.
So you kind of said in a nutshell what I want people to know about our community, and that it is so beautiful and how diverse it is, and that we are, I'm going to steal from Carissa, to the multi-layers, meaning that, yes, all of us, I always share, everyone has an immigrant story. Like you just, right, it's part of it, but it's not all of it. Like there's more. And when I talk about a sense of belonging, I share this a lot too. Like I want to know that our entire next generations feel like they belong too, right? There is, this is part of the history and it's part of their story, but they have multiple chapters to it. Then look at it. Some of you that were there at our 50th anniversary, this is something that I call it our impact statement more than anything else. What I wanted in this vision and what my team did, so they put their whole hearts in it and they did this amazing job. And so some of you there saw the Chando's food truck in there, right? So we have street food and stuff. But if you kept going, you saw that we have up to Michelin star restaurants with the oysters and the lobster. And there's this idea that for some reason when something is ethnic, and I think Mai would probably share that culturally, that it's worth less. And I wanted people to realize, no, there's a value in everything that we have, and we have all the different layers like everyone else. And that not only do we have that, we made a statement in having an event at the Golden One Center, which for so many of the people that I saw and like our younger generations really saw on their face, like, we're here. And I wanted them to feel that, like, not only you're here, you belong here. There is no place that you don't belong, that you just do. And I've grown up that way. And I was really fortunate to have like a dad that instilled that in me, that there is no place I don't belong, that I have value and I bring worth to it. And that's what I want people to know, that when you are talking to someone, our stories are all different. Some are similar that, we have, but a lot of it, a shared experience, can be very different. So don't assume that, as Oksana said, like they celebrated multiple countries. On my team, I have someone that has a background from Peru, from Argentina, from Mexico. It's our board. I love it. I love for people to know that about us, because then we reflect the community we're serving. And that's important when we're looking at that. So really look at this group and realize that it's vibrant, it's resilient, it contributes. And there is no like asking for handouts here, because we have given a lot, not just, the city here, but the state and everything. And I'm here again, and I know everyone are hearing it, but I just want to point it out so much. There is no sleeping giant here. I hate that phrase, because every people here that I see, I don't know when they sleep to begin with. And so that is why I'm here to say, like, understand that. Like, I heard this phrase and I'm using it too. This is our Latino Renaissance, and we're going to take it. And you're going to come along with us, because it's going to be an incredible ride to see where we're going to take you. But understand that we're going to go regardless. And so it's time for people to really respect that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Kathy, for sharing that. Richard, Carissa, and Eureka, do you have anything else to add?
Yes.
Yeah, feel free to chime in. I'm gonna just let y'all chime in before I ask my
I'll keep it under 1 minute. But Kathy, you just lit a fire in my belly, so it was really exciting. I'm here for the Renaissance. No, I was just, we're preparing for Dia de los Muertos, el Panteón de Sacramento, and doing this kind of cultural work requires that we dig deep into the history of what we do, and it informs the future of where we're going. Yeah. And the story of the sugar skull, which we always see, we always know, oh, it's a Mexican celebration. We put our names of those who have departed, we put it on our altares. But the truth is, and what I love about this exploration, is that sugar is not native to the Americas. Sugar was brought here. It was brought during the African slave trade. And during that time, what we saw was that there were many slaves who were dying without any recognition or any celebration. And so it was the Latino Americans who were here who used their cultural celebrations of using skulls to honor the departed, and used sugar, which they associated with African slaves, to honor them. because their families couldn't do it because they weren't here.
Mm.
And so when we think about even our own traditions, they are so intertwined with the struggles of many other communities. And how do we bring that back when we are now talking about policy, economic investment? And to Richard's crab pot, metaphor, it's like, who put us in the pot? Because it's time that like the crabs come out. Like it's just time. But it's really such beauty in the celebration that we do, but also reminding ourselves that what we are doing is incredibly revolutionary, but also exciting and beautiful. And so that's the story I wanted to share when we're talking about sugar skulls, just how deep that goes as well.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
would also,
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
no.
Eureka.
sorry, I would like to add, now that Carissa mentioned the history,
Mhm.
how California has such historic ties, with Mexico, with Latin America. And for example, if we remember, the first constitution of California was in Spanish and in English. So definitely, I think
Mm.
besides the Renaissance, it's also a going back
Mm.
to what it was supposed to be
Mm.
since the beginning. So just being bilingual, being proud of being bilingual, and also being proud of sharing your roots, not only and knowing them that Mexico is not the same country as Venezuela or as Colombia.
Mhm.
We are different countries. We are part of a community and we share, but we each all have our different culture, our different things that distinguishes. And inside our own community, like Mexicans can be African Mexicans or
Mhm.
Asian Mexicans.
Mhm.
So it's we're yes, we are muéganos, as we would say in Spanish, because we all collaborate together and we share and we contribute, but we also have our own special or identity, and I think that's important for people to know.
Thanks,
And
Eureka.
the only thing that I'm going to add to the mix is my personal tradition. I make a darn good sangria. I've been
You
making
all said it
sangria.
right. Richard, I need
I've
to come
been
over
making
for dinner.
sangria for years.
I'm
I
going to
told
come
my
over for
kids,
dinner.
we're
And
having you for dinner. I told Barbara we still got to invite you for dinner, but the next batch, I'm out right now. So the next batch, when I make sangria, I'm going to get a hold of all y'all so that you can get some of
Awesome.
my sangria. Okay?
And
That
the
sounds
lasagna.
That sounds great. So I know we're a little bit over, but I do want to ask this last question because I think it's really important. And really would love for all of you to chime in. As you know, we're having this virtual live chat to really celebrate Hispanic Latino Heritage Month. Although I would say we should be celebrating every single day, not just within September 15th to October 15th. It's Hispanic Latino Heritage Month every single day. Wanted to ask each and every one of you, what are some meaningful ways for the Sacramento community to recognize and celebrate the Hispanic and Latino community all year round? And so this really question is for each and every one of you. As folks are watching this and listening and learning about you and the work you're doing in your organization, what are some ways for them to get involved or to help or to recognize and to uplift and center the Hispanic and Latino community? And one thing I will say as councilwoman is that a lot of these organizations are always working on a shoestring. They take $1 and they do amazing things with it, but it's simply just not enough. And so I'm always asking folks, philanthropists, folks who got money to invest, to draw down those dollars. So if you got a little bit to give, definitely hit up these organizations and donate and be a contributor. Volunteer, get involved. They're always doing fundraisers or events. That's one thing that I would say. If you're watching this, we'll make sure to share all the information for all of the organization, but ways that you can get involved. So that's my plug. My ask for you as you're watching this to learn more about all of these organizations and to contribute, whether that's people power on the ground or with dollars to support the work that's happening. So with that, I will ask Richard first. What is one thing that folks can do to celebrate the Hispanic Latino community all year round?
Dance with some salsa, bachata, cumbia. Dance, people, dance. It's not going away. It's fun and it's great for your health.
Awesome. Thanks, Richard. Carissa?
I was just going to kick it over to Kathy, but it's just like invest in our people, really help us remove the hurdles that are present for Latino business owners or entrepreneurs or artists in this community and really support them.
Awesome. Thanks. Eureka.
Well, as you mentioned, join us at all the events that we have. have this great conversations with leaders, for example, with Carissa, Richard, Roxana, Kathy, yourself, engaging conversations, which is very deep.
Awesome. Thank you, Rico. Roxana.
I always like to say to support each other, work together, and remember, we're not in competition. We are one. We need to be united and work together.
Awesome. Thank you. And lastly, Kathy.
So mine is easy because Carissa said it. So, go support these, Latino, Latina owned businesses and talk about them, and that's, really the best thing you can do. When you do that, I can guarantee you're supporting a family, you're supporting a neighborhood, you're supporting the community. So, go ahead and, shop Latino. And to everyone here, we have the phrase you have, that Roxana has here at the Sacramento Chamber. We say Junto Sacramento. And so really, it's together. And I'm so proud, to have been in this group with you guys today, but also I'm just proud every single day. And then I think this is going to change soon too. I do think we celebrate being Latino and Latina Hispanic every day, but with Dia de los Muertos, I often tell people that I'm like, I really think we start at the beginning of September and go through November, right? Because just like everything, we kind of expand out. So it's really 2 months, because the work that Carissa does, is incredible, but it really, it keeps us going. So I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I know we went 4 minutes over. I really want to say thank you so much to Carissa, Richard, Roxana, Kathy, Yuriko. Thank you so much for making time to be in space with us and our residents to learn a little bit more about the Hispanic Latino community, and just about the great work that y'all are doing on the ground. I do just want to give a quick information update. If y'all would like to contact our office, you can reach us by 916-808-7008. The old school way, you can call us. You can email us at district8@cityofsacramento.org. Or you can follow us on social media at CMMyBang on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We have the same social media handle for all 3. And so if you need to get a hold of us, please do. And in addition to all of the great events that are coming up that you heard from our panelists, we're going to be sharing that as well. I do just want to give a quick shout out to share that we're having our first District 8 job fair happening at the Pinnell Community Center on October 8th. And so wanted to make sure that we share that information with all of you as well. There's going to be lots of trades, local businesses, government agency who are going to be hiring on the spot. As you heard from Kathy earlier, economic opportunities are so important. And for me, that's making sure that we got solid jobs for our residents in our district. And so if you know someone who's looking for a job, make sure you share this link, heartandhustle.org/job fair. That's happening October 8th from 9 to 1 p.m. at the Pinnell Center. And then also wanted to share with you, we can have these fairs, but if folks don't have their resume or their interview skills on point, we want to make sure that we're also prepping you before that as well. And so I do want to share that this Thursday, there's a job readiness workshop with resume building, interview tips, and more. And you can register for that happening this week at heartandhustle.org/workshop. And then lastly, just one more thing. Last year, we held our first South Sacramento festival, and we're going to be hosting our second annual one this year. Last year, it was in Meadowview Park, but our district is big, so we're moving it around. And this year, we're having it at North Laguna Park. And so wanted to make sure that I share that information with all of you. We're about 2 to 3 weeks away from that. That's October 15th from 11 to 4 p.m. So make sure you join us for that. And then I think that is it. Oh, thank you for putting that information. You'll see it down here on this really cool scrolly thing that my staff put up. So please join us at North Laguna Creek Park on 10/15. It should be a fun event. Wishing y'all lots of love and healing, and happy Hispanic Latino Heritage Month. Again, thank you to all of our amazing speakers who are here today to share about the great work they're doing in the community and the great work of their organization. Again, I'll see you all next month for our next live chat, if not sooner, probably at our upcoming events. Take care, everyone, and have a great week.